Good morning. Hand today's going to be 7-6 of diamonds. We are on the button. We have first player limps, but we should note that we only have a big blind in this hand. So this is a 10 NL game, under the gun limps. Mid position player raises a 3, folds to me, and I call, and under the gun calls. So let's get ranges. First guy, I put a range like this. And the reason is we don't have a huge number of hands, but we do have some notes on here that says limp and call to raise. He's got ace 10 suited, king 10 suited, jack 10 suited. That looks like suited broadways. You've got ace 8 off, king 10 off, 9 8 off. Kind of assume with the king 10 off that he probably has offsuit broadways as well in his limping range. And then that 9 8 off, I'm going to say offsuit connectors. And if he has those, he has the suited connectors as well. Question is how far does he go? I just keep down to 7-6. I did expand the ace X down to ace 8. I don't know if he goes down lower or not. I do think he would raise jacks plus ace queen. And the reason is that he does have a raise first in stat 2 out of 22. So he is capable of raising, and I think those hands are the most likely ones to see a preflop raise. Next player, we've got over 300 hands on him. He's playing 19-9. He doesn't look too crazy, especially in early and mid position. Mid position's 12%. A 12% raise first in stat. He limps. He does have you could say a limping range. He has limped before. And if we look at raise with previous limpers, this is the first time. So we don't have a whole lot of hands on him. We've just got 3-bet range. We've got called 2-bet from the blinds and called 3-bets out of position. So the called 3-bets out of position, we can see 9-8 suited. So kind of gives me an idea that he probably has some sort of suited connectors in there. But I'm going to give him basically all of these hands. Not all of Broadway, but all of the suited Broadway. And then ace jack off and king queen off. Pocket pairs, and then suited connectors down to 8-7. I think that, and that's at 12%. So at least the frequency is pretty close. I should say this frequency for the first guy is at almost 23%. That's also probably good, based on his numbers. So even though we don't have a whole lot, 18% total. You've got 2 out of 3 on the button, 5 out of 16 over mid position. He could just be getting good hands. All right, so now it's to me. This is the button versus mid position, a 3-better call range. You can see the 7-6 is not included. I made the call. I probably shouldn't have. I probably should have tightened it up a little bit. But my thought was, I'm sure my thought was when I was playing this hand that Villain's got a lot of these Broadway hands. Anything in the middle or low is probably not going to connect, which gives me an opportunity to bet and take him off his hand, or actually get some value from it. Just, I know we play some suited connectors. I just got to remember that the suited connectors in this situation is 10-9 and jack 10. So I made a loose call. And we see a flop of jack 8-7. So I flopped the bottom pair on a board that probably connects. With one or both players, especially with like a jack. You got ace jack, king jack, queen jack, jack 10. You're gonna have a 10. You're gonna have a 9 for gut shots. So let's see what happens. So villain 5 checks. I'm gonna assume he checks, but then villain 1 checks too. So this is the guy that I would expect to be c-betting. I'm not gonna give him a set 2 pair or over pair, and I don't even think I'm gonna give him top pair. So I'm going to look like something like that. We're going to eliminate flush draws as well. Kind of assume that he would have bet the flush draws. Gut shots are questionable. Definitely he might have some of these gut shots in there. Kind of assume that he would make it. He would bet those. I think I probably would, just because we're betting top pair plus. But that's what I'm gonna go with. So like his range just really got weak once he checked, and then it's to us. And what do? I think we do go for some value here. We go for straights, we go for sets. If we do that, then we're going to have our flush draw. Let's get all of these out here. And that's 50-50 right there. So we could also do maybe like a 2-card gut shot. Queen 10. It's kind of a bluff. But I kind of think flush draw is it. We do our flush draw, we do straights and sets. I think everything else we probably check. So just X those out. I think we check even with our bottom pair. It's three-way. If it was heads up, maybe we would bet. I think we'd bet small, kind of expecting villain to call. On any card that comes below this board, I think we bet again on the turn. If a Broadway card comes up, I think that's pretty bad for us. So I think my check's okay in this case. Queen of Diamonds, see, that's kind of a bad card. So if we bet here, I don't think we could continue firing a second barrel. Unless we had a straight. I think even a set, I think we would just be checking. And our flushes, maybe some of our flushes we bet. Maybe if we had like a king. Nah, if we had like a 9 or a 10 to kind of do the flush with the gut shot, maybe that's what we'd have as a bluff to kind of balance against all the straights that we might have, or the few straights that we have. So villain 5 checks. This guy checks. I'm going to say the straight and the set. He probably doesn't have the straight and the set at this point. I think he's probably going to be betting those, hoping to bet those for value. Make sure I've got all those checked. Because I think he's betting him to try to block out some of the draws. That would make sense. But then he has everything else, including flush draws. So we're going to say 91%. We just kind of eliminated the strongest hands in his range. Villain 1, so the preflop razor checks. That's just arguing for a weaker hand. I kind of think queens would probably be betting. So we're going to take those out. The top pair. It's looking, and right now everyone's checking. Yeah, the 7s are looking good. I've got some value, but I don't think I'm going to be getting hands full that I really want to fold. I think any 8's going to probably call. Any 10, any 9's going to call. I think we would be betting now, hoping. I guess we would be turning our hand into a bluff, kind of. I think that might be what we would have done. Would we bet? Yeah, I think at this point we'd probably start betting our top pair. Maybe even our middle pair with the jack. Definitely the jack 10, I think we could bet. We're going to say the top pair. I think the middle pair would be like the jack 10. I think the ace jack's probably just going to be in our checking range. We'll probably call with ace jack on the river, depending on what this river card is. I think 9s and 10s we probably bet, and that's kind of going to be a little bit for value, a little bit for semi-bluff here. So something like that. And maybe king 10 is a bluff. I think that's kind of our what we should be betting. Again, kind of being aggressive. We're going for some value with our top pair hand and some draws. If everyone folds, that's okay, because we had 20%. About half of our betting range is going to be a bluff. If they fold, hey, that's great. We don't have to hit our hand. What I did was check, so let's get these. Let's X that out. X that. And this one does not have Jack 10. So get the rest of these on here. So now our hand becomes weaker. We see a jack. Villain 6 checks. And now villain 1 bets. So Now at this point, kind of expect the full house to go ahead and bet. Kind of expect a flush to bet too. But with the barrel paired, a lot of people, this is 10NL, a lot of people will get scared and just check. So we'll just say his range is something like this. Now this villain bets, maybe he has a weak pair. That's kind of all that I'm getting here, is that he's betting maybe a 10. Let's go here. Maybe those hands. That's about it. They beat us. I don't think ace high is going to bet, and unless he actually has like a massive hand. Kind of makes it look like maybe he had a jack, but if he had a jack, why would he have just checked? Why didn't he see bet? And that's kind of the question mark that I have. But he bet. I don't think our hand's strong enough to call. I think we call with a jack, but I think that's it. I don't think we call with anything else. So this should be a fold. Even with our hand, I think we should be a fold with our 7-6. First villain call, so that's good. We get to see him. Here, I think flush, 3 of a kind, and possibly top pair is calling. I think that would be that villain. So now we get to see 8-9, and we have 5s. So villain here was that weak pair, was in his range. Didn't think he would really bet that. So take a note on this. So he ISO raised 3 big blind in technically low jack with 5 spades, 5 clubs. He is MP. Check, bet. What did he bet? 3.3, 33%. So jack of clubs, 8 of spades, 7 of spades, queen of diamonds, jack of spades. All right. All right, and this guy played 8-9. There we have limp call from under the gun with 9 of diamonds, 8 of clubs. He is out of position. So we check, call, 33% on that board. All right, so took our notes. What do I think of this hand? Number one, I don't think I should have played this at all. I don't think I should have been in the hand. Should have just folded it. Villain's not overly loose. I kind of assumed he was going to be tighter. I think that's could be some justification. It's we're trying to play exploitatively. Once we went 3-way, and I think that's kind of the catch. If I thought we were going to be heads up, maybe that's going to be a good call. But we already had a limper, and I can't imagine the limper's going to fold. So I think we have to assume we're going to probably go 3-way. That kind of argues for a fold. As played, though, getting into the hand, is there any point where I should have bet? Yeah, I could have bet on the flop. I think we have better hands to balance with on the flop. I think I bet. I don't think he's going to fold at all. I don't think he's going to fold the flop. I don't think he's going to fold the turn. I think this guy might take, might need triple barrel just to get him to fold. And I just don't think it's worth it to push it, not with our bottom pair, especially in a 3-way pot. This guy, I think he's probably going to fold. We bet, he calls, he folds. If we bet he folds, he might call one time and then he's going to fold the turn, I'm sure. So in this situation, I think we're probably going to have to plan on firing at least a double barrel to take the pot down. And with our hand, we didn't really have anything. I guess if we had 7-6 of clubs, we have backdoor club draw, that might argue for betting it a little bit more. But with our diamonds, we didn't really even have that. We just had our bottom pair, and we had, bottom runner, backdoor straight draw. So I don't like the idea of betting the flop. Uh, Betting the turn once it goes checks all around. Maybe we could bet it at that point. Kind of argues that maybe now we have the queen, or maybe now we have tens or nines that we're betting. Um, if we bet then, I don't think he's folding. I think this guy's probably folding to that queen, and then when the jack comes out, we would fire it again. Uh, but the jack spades connected, so of the hands that I kind of expect to be called, it would be spades, it would be straights. So one of the big draws came in. I don't think we could really bet. So big mistake here was just playing it to begin with. If we didn't play it, if we would have just folded, hey, we would have saved our 3 big blinds, or I guess 30 cents. So hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another.